Once again, we are at the Barkan at the 26 and 2 teacher training program here in New Jersey at Zora Bloom, Hot Yoga. So I wanted to record the Cobra series for you. When I say Cobra series, I mean 4 poses. Cobra, Bhujangasana, Locust, Salavasana, Full Locust, Purna Salavasana, and bow pose, Dhanurasana. What's interesting about this sequence, it's not original or synonymous to the Bikram world. Cobra Locust, Full Locust Bow, or Cobra Locust Bow, you can see it in other styles of yoga. Shivananda, for example, does it in the exact same order. There's a wonderful anatomy book by a guy named, I think his name is David Culture, I might have pronounced it wrong. He has it in his anatomy book. So what Bikram did was he copied and pasted that sequence into his sequence. Just like Patanjali didn't create the 8-limb path, he copied and pasted certain areas in the 8-limb path. Same thing with the Cobra series. So we're going to start with Bhujangasana or Cobra, and these are back strengthening series. So I'm going to have Sarah wave to the camera for a second. That's Sarah. She's going to lay down, feet to the back of the room. We're going to place the hands underneath the shoulders so that the little fingers are in the front part of the shoulder. I'm sorry, the little fingers on the outside of the shoulder. The tips of the fingers are on the front part. So it's right in the corner. So if I came over and I looked down at Sarah, I would not be able to see her hands. A lot of times people have a tendency to bring their hands too far forward up here, or they're too far out to the side. Now, if I tell the students, bring your hands underneath, they'll bring their hands actually back. So I'll say lift your chest and bring them underneath to the inside, from here to here. So the hands are underneath the shoulders exactly. That's where we have to go. Now, legs are tight and solid. The inner thighs are actually rotating in toward each other this way. In an inner spiral, feet are flat, toes and heels touching. My teacher would say, you don't have 2 legs anymore, you have 1 cobra tail. The leg inner thigh strength is going to be key. She's going to take a deep breath in and slowly come up as she exhales just to the belly button. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, right there. Here's the main instruction I give people. Elbows to the waist, which drops the shoulders down. Now she can lift from her chest and work the lower back. Okay, come down for a second. Now some people can't go that high. So what they can do, let's say Sarah can only come up a few centimeters or a few inches off the ground. So she inhales, she comes up. Let's say that's as far as she can go. Then that's fine. She wants to aspire to go higher, but if that's as far as you can go, that's as far as you can go. Eventually your goal is to come a little higher, but you never want to go past the point where you're to the navel, to the belly button. So she comes all the way up, come way, 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 that's too high. Come down a little bit, right here. Now in the Bikram world, they have you bring your head all the way back, way back, way back, way back, way back. I'm not crazy about that because I think it puts pressure on the neck, causes a lot of tension. I like the head to come forward so the back and the neck vertebra are in line, even a little more forward than that. Right there. Come up a little more. And that's a much better position for the neck. Okay, come down for a second. Question? So the question is, where's the eye gaze if you're looking up? Well, it's going to be wherever your eyes fall. In other words, if I'm looking here, my eyes are going to be looking this direction. If I'm here, it's depending on how high you go. My eyes are just going to look straight ahead. So if your head is back, you don't want your eyes are back, which is going to cause tension in the neck. Some people with really good back bends can do the head all the way back, but then you're looking all the way back. But if your head is forward, your eyes are going to go just exactly where they are, where they are in your head. You don't want to be looking up like this or down like that, just straight ahead. So however high your head goes is where your eyes should be. Are you pushing with the hands? It should be 20% arm strength, 80% leg strength. So what happens is you've used too much arm strength, hand strength, go ahead and do that. A lot of times people will come all the way up and they'll straighten their arms like they're doing straighten your arms completely. Yeah, they do that, and their shoulders come up in their ears. Do that too, shoulders to your ears, like, yeah. So we don't want that pressure. We want very little pressure on the hands. In fact, this is a good segue to the advanced level. When she comes up, eventually the hands lift off the ground. Now she's got a really good, bring your hands a little higher. She can still maintain the height and her hands up and still keep her navel at the floor and then come down slowly. Here's the problem with that advanced position. Let's say you come up to the pose. Go ahead and do the full position. A little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and now bring your hands up. And let's say that brings you down like this. Then you should not be bringing your hands off the ground. Because all you're doing is just torquing your neck, trying to get your hands up. So only come up, come up. If you can maintain this position, now bring your hands off the ground, feet into the ground, then you can do that advanced position. Now, one last thing, and I'm going to tell you about this advanced position. If I came along and I held her feet together and pushed down, now come up. Now lift your hands off the ground. Now it's really easy for her. So that's what you have to do with yourself when you practice. You got to squeeze those inner thighs, squeeze those legs, push the feet into the ground, and then your hands will come up a lot easier. Okay, come on down. Question. With your hands? No. Just think of your elbows coming down. Don't move your hands back. Just think of your elbows dropping and the shoulders dropping, isolated from your hands. And you don't want your hands to turn out this way, and we don't want to spread the hands, which they do in the Krishnamacharyan world. We're keeping the fingers together so we can use the spine more, because if you spread your fingers out, you're going to have a tendency to use your arms more. So that's another answer to your question. Don't keep the fingers together. Don't push the floor back with your hands. Just drop your elbows down and drop your shoulders down. The hands are going to be where they are. Be more stable. Locust pose is next in the series. So bring your arms underneath the body in between the hip points. So let's talk about this for a second. Let's say you really have a tough time getting your arms underneath, and there's no way you're going to get your leg up that way. There's two ways you can do it. If you're doing 2 sets, it will work. I would say, let's say you could bring your foot off the ground for 1 inch and hold it for 1 second. Do that, and it's too much. Now bring it down. I'd rather you do that and get those arms underneath to work those elbows. That's going to help get rid of the calcium deposits in the shoulders and the elbows and the wrists. Then to bring your arms out to the side, do that completely out away from you. And now bring your leg up in the air. Maybe do that in the second set if it's just killing your elbows, or you're going to have students that are killing their elbows. So now we can start working and strengthening the hamstring above pointing the toe. So arms out to the side maybe in 1 set, and then come back again and bring them underneath. Or get them under for 1 set and start working that calcium deposit, training those elbows to get underneath better and grabbing the floor. Can you do me a favor, Sarah? Keep your hands and just turn toward the camera and show what your arms and hands look like. Just turn toward me. And spread your fingers. That's the position we want. In between, interestingly enough, the more you can get them in between the hip points, the less pressure it's going to be on your elbows. Okay, now come back down again. So think of your fingers going towards your knees. So if you can't get the arms underneath and get that leg up, try that 1 set all the way underneath. Maybe you can only go for 1 inch or a second. 1 set out to the side, modification. Otherwise, go ahead and bring your left leg up on the side to 45-degree angle. The hip point makes contact with the forearm. And even though we're pointing the toe, because now we're pointing the toe, we're strengthening the hamstring and stretching the quad. And down you go. Other leg so you're even. If you can see yourself in the mirror, go ahead, other leg up. You got shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, foot. Straight line. You can look in the mirror in the front and see that. Straight line, straight back. Down she goes. Okay, relax for a second. Questions on the one leg? The question is, if you bring your weight toward your shoulders, will that help? Absolutely. Bring the weight to the shoulders, that gets the leg up. Think of the Cobra and the Locust as a seesaw. In the Cobra pose, we're lifting the upper back off the floor to work the lower back. In the Locust, we're lifting the lower back off the floor to work the upper back. So yeah, by bringing the weight more forward into the shoulders, the leg will come up a little higher, especially for both legs. So now arms underneath. Now we change the position of the head and the neck. Now the mouth's on the floor. It's like you're kissing the mat. See how the neck just changed? She takes a deep breath in, and up she goes. It's okay to separate your legs a little bit at first. Separate them a little bit, just to get some height. Then bring them together. Now, I want you to come up a little higher and bend your knees. Sometimes you're going to see that. I want you to bend your knees. Sometimes you'll see that. I would say give up some height and straighten your legs. It's more important to straighten your legs, and then down she comes. Because as soon as you bend your knees, you're taking the dynamic is gone. You're not strengthening as much. So you're better off with less height and stronger legs. And relax your arms. All right, the question is the breathing. How do we time the breath? And I've done some videos on this. Do you inhale and bring the leg up and then exhale? Do you inhale and as the leg comes up, exhale? Do you inhale, exhale, and bring the leg up? The answer to the question is, what is it? All three, depending on your body type. That's why you have to understand your body type, which I talked about in the video recently, which is coming up for you guys next week. If you're stronger than you are flexible, you need more range of motion, therefore you have to exhale sooner. If you're more flexible than you are strong, you have to exhale later. However, for the average person, inhale, and as the leg comes up, a little bit of an exhale. Inhale, and as the leg comes up, exhale, to answer your question. So again, it depends on the body type. Stronger, let the air out a little bit sooner. More flexible, later. Simple. Good question. And your second question. So the question was, do you arch the back? Let the back just naturally go into its position, because if you arch the back, it may bend your knees too much to come up. Full locust, arms out to the side like an airplane. Leg muscles are tight and solid. I talked about this in class today. We want to really work on strengthening the lat muscles. If you've ever done a lat pull down in the gym, you're not pulling it down with your shoulders, you're pulling it down with these back muscles. The shoulders come along for the ride. It's the same thing here. You're going to lift from these middle back muscles. So once again, we time the breath according to the body type. Take a deep breath in, and up she goes. Where the fingertips, you're going to turn your palms down to the floor. Line up with the top of the head and bring your arms back a little bit more. Right there. Thumb and forefinger together. Now, not so much legs, more chest up, chest up. Once she can get higher, then the legs can start coming up if she can maintain the height with her upper body. Okay, come down for a second. Because ideally, the full position is that the feet and the head are in the same line from the side. Most people can't get there. But if you start bringing your legs up like a seesaw again, it pushes your upper body back, down. We don't want that, because we want the lat muscles is the key here. Yes, the legs are strength part of it. We want the upper body to lift, get those lat muscles engaged. So don't lift your legs up that high. If you can get to your hip points, then the legs can start coming up. But the tendency is it's going to push you down. So you're going to maintain the strength of your lat muscles to keep you up as the leg comes up, and eventually the foot and the head are in the same line from the side. Last pose in the series is the bow, Dhanurasana. Grab a hold of the feet from the outside. Now, in the standing bow, we hold down lower where the top of the foot and the ankle meet. In the floor bow, no. We want to be just below the toes, 2 inches below the toes, because if you go too low, it's going to bypass the hip flexors, which is a big part of the stretch. We don't want to do that. We want to keep the wrist straight, not bent. 2 knees can come together in the beginning, because the tendency is when you start to kick up, the knee is going to separate. So if we keep the knees together from the start, if they separate, they'll come to shoulder width, which is what we want. Once again, the breathing, depending on your body type, deep breath in, and up she comes. The wrists are straight. See how she's bending her wrist? Let's get that wrist. Yes, look how her feet went up another inch higher without even getting more flexible. She's staying on the lower abdomen. This is too low, and this is too high. Right here, she kicks from that position, and you really have to watch that the knees don't flare out than the shoulders. They can keep them in the same line. Okay, come back down for a second. Unlike the Cobra pose, we want the head to go all the way back so we complete the back bend through the neck vertebra. Make sense? Do that one more time. Deep breath in, up she goes. Staying right on the lower abdomen, head back. That's it. That's it. Look up to the ceiling. Now you do want to look up, Justina. And I'm keeping your knees a little closer in because they want to go out. Right here, there's a really nice position for her bow. And down she goes. Head to the side. Jenny. Oh, good question. Let's say you can't grab with one foot, you mean? So bring your right arm out to the side and lift your left foot up from the outside. Lift it up with your hand. Yeah. Head up. Yeah, extend your arm. That would be how you do it. However, sometimes you can do is you could actually come over and just give a little bit of assist. You could actually do this. Bring your hand back. You could actually help them gently. Don't hurt the knee. Like you got to be careful with your knee. You could help them and guide them. We'll show you this way. Grab that foot instead. You can guide them. Sometimes that little help will help be able to. Sometimes you can do that with your students. Just help grab the other foot. So the question is, should the feet be pointing this way? No, she's straight up, that way, not in, not pigeon-toed, straight back. Good question. Justina. The alternate grip is more in the Barkan world, not in the Bikram world. So if you're teaching a Bikram traditional class, then don't teach it. Okay. But I'll show you what it is in the Barkan world. Bend your knee up, both legs, and get your thumb between the big toe and the one next to it. Yeah, slide your thumb between the big toe. Yeah. Deep breath in, up you go. We change the grip, which changes the area of the spine that we're working on. Head back, same thing, same kicking. But now we're working in a different area of the back. We do that in the second set. In the Barkan world, not in a traditional Bikram class. Okay, come back down. The Krishnamacharyan bow, grab a hold of your ankles and flex your feet back towards you this way. And grab your outside ankles. You would keep your thighs on the ground. Take a deep breath in and just lift your chest up. Extend your arms back behind you. Don't lift your knees up. More. Chest out, chest up. That's more the Krishnamacharyan bow. 3 different positions to the name, the same pose. Okay, come back down again. Okay, there it is. Look at the camera. That's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions about this pose, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you, and we'll all see you the next video. Are you waving, Sarah? Bye, guys.